This is Yoshi542 and got another replay up here. And this one is on the Jagdtiger 88. I was thinking of doing some Jagdtiger 88 replays or even a straight up overview video, but I think this is one of those replays that doesn't quite make the cut, so to speak. So since probably I'm gonna stick probably 2 to 3 replays, mainly 2 replays that I think I did well with the Jagdtiger 88, to do an overview video about this tier 8 German tank destroyer that's premium. The map is Lakeville, and we are on the north spawn. And let's get started. Now, the main reason why I didn't decide to put this in either the GGBR, the Good Game Bad Result series, or the potential Jagdtiger 88 overview videos, because I think this was a decent game but had a more interesting result towards the end. So you'll see how it turns out.
Let's go.
Now, the thing with the Jagdtiger 88 that you'll probably see in the overview video, this video was actually made before the overview video, so don't worry about it. If you see me going over some points, you'll hear me reiterate them in the overview video. Not a big deal. The thing about this tank, though, is it has horrible track traverse, a pretty obvious weak spot in the transmission area, lower front plate type area. Over here you see the red bar, as well as the orange machine gun nest where the radio operator sits. Those are two of the most obvious weak spots other than the sides and the rear of the tank. The slow track traverse doesn't help the fact that if you get a damaged transmission or engine, you're basically a snail. You'll be turning at like 10 degrees a second. It'll take you forever to rotate, and if someone flanks you, well, you're done. You can't do anything about it. You just gotta hope that your teammates will help out. Here we have a fair amount of tanks on the 1 and 2 line, but this is where it's gonna get weird.
Critical hit.
Now I'm gonna switch back to my main view here.
Critical hit.
And the main goal for me here is, holy crap, that's a lot of tanks. I want to try to damage the tanks as much as possible, and if need be, even try to slow them down by shooting their tracks. That one, since I'm zooming in so much, it hit the wall. An enemy Jagdtiger 88
That one didn't go through.
shot me, bounced me. I tried to shoot his transmission area, bounced. I hit the wall again because I'm way too close. I see the Jagd 88. That one penetrated the transmission,
Enemy is hit.
and I did that again. And you can see we're being overwhelmed. There's only about 4 of us here now. Whatever we had is dying fast. But they're slowly creeping their way up, and I'm at a decent spot where they're having a hard time penetrating me, and I'm constantly backing up and angling. Bounce a super Pershing shot, and we're 1 and 4. It's not turning out well for us.
Enemy armor is damaged.
But I'm still doing good damage here. But there's so many tanks, I could only do so much even with my DPM.
We didn't even
That one was a bounce. I should have just focused on the T-34 instead of the upper hull.
penetration.
And look at that, 2 Jagdtiger 88s, IS-6, Super Pershing Black Prince, Centurion, T-34, T-29, not T-34, sorry. And they just keep coming. I'm surprised that I took so little damage at this point, but it's gonna get worse.
That one bounced.
I'm bouncing, I'm taking HE, you know, it's a pain in the ass right now. Guns damage.
It's working out very well.
They just keep going. Now my engine's damage, observation deck's damage. I mean, it's just, I'm taking a beating, and I'm gonna state this straight up. I'm gonna die in this game. There's no way I'm gonna live through this.
Their armor.
So I'm gonna pause this real quick. My team is split in 2 areas. The 4 of us here just guarding our cap at the 1 and 2 line as they completely overwhelm us, while the rest of the team is basically south of the city, gonna overwhelm whatever they got there, and it's gonna depend on how are we gonna pull this off. Are we gonna win this? Are we gonna lose this? Right now, if you were to jump it right into this point in this replay, and you think to yourself, what's gonna happen? Am I gonna live? Am I gonna die? I'm gonna die. But what's gonna happen with the team? Are they gonna win or are they gonna lose? My team, that is. He would say, it's a pretty good chance your team's gonna lose. I mean, unless a lot of them start turning back after they clean up the guys on the southeast corner, then your team's basically gonna probably lose unless they stop the cap somehow and they have someone to cap. I mean, that could happen too, but there's still an AMX AC-48 on the 4 line, as well as a Jagdpanzer on the 4 line that the enemy team has that they could stop our guys from capping as well. So I'm going to resume the replay.
Enemy armor is damaged.
I damaged that Jagd 88, and I've already done nearly 2,400 damage on this tank, which is now 2,600, but there you go, I died. It was just too much. I just could not handle that many things at once, even with my DPM, and even though I tried my best to hide my hull weak point. Surprisingly, that SAA-1 has still survived this mess. And we're slowly trying to even out the kills here, 4 to 6. And you could just see all the tanks in the area. A lot of them are damaged though, especially by me. T-29, Super Pershing, the Jagdtiger 88s, all pretty damaged. All capable of dying within a few shots. The I-6 Black Prince and Centurion on the other side of this lane are still okay. We have another Jagd 88 who's doing his best trying to hold him out. Slow him down. We have a Pershing, and that SGA-1 is still alive, but I switch views here. I'm keeping it to my POV, so I'm constantly rotating and shuffling my views around. But now that SGA-1 died, so now we're down to 2 tanks, which is another the other Jagd 88 and Pershing. The IS-6 that we have is coming trying to help stop them from capping or doing whatever they plan on doing. But some of those tanks, the enemy tanks, are capable of dying in 2 shots. So as long as the Pershing takes his time, baits him out, he might be able to kill a couple and slow him down for really a good amount of time. Here's the IS-6, and he takes a nice shot to the Black Prince, penetrates him. M103 is trying to rush the 704. He actually flanks him. Nice shot to the back, but what the M103 should have done here, and that was a really low roll by the 704, but what the M103 should have done is block him off at the side. That way he couldn't necessarily rotate to shoot the E75, but the 103 wanted to go for the side, the back instead of the side. So that was kind of a dumb idea. He could have saved that E75 with just moving to this, literally to the side, and preventing him from turning or using his gun traverse to shoot the rear of the E75. Eventually, the 704 dies, and now we have 2 tanks defending our cap, which is the I-6 and this KV-4. T-29 goes down, and they just keep coming. Look at that. Still a lot of them, although a lot of them are very, very damaged. The 103 is going to go for a cap, and in my opinion, that's actually not a bad idea. We don't necessarily know what happened to. I'm actually going to pause. Did that AC-46 Jagdtiger die? Okay, Jagdtiger's dead, and AC-48, I'm sorry, 48, not 46. They both died as well, so that's good. So they can't stop the 103 or the KV-5 from capping. So all these 2 guys have to do, the KV-4 and I-6, is stop their cap by whatever means necessary. I say use HE to stop the cap, and that's actually a good idea because it doesn't matter. We got 2 guys that are going to cap, and all you have to do is shoot HE and survive. As long as you could shoot HE and survive at their tanks, whoever they are at capping, they'll have it should be an easy win. We're already ahead, we have 2 cappers, and the enemy team was forced to come out hiding here. And this KV-4 had its loader knocked out, so he has a much slower loading time. That's not good. But our team is still winning. As long as he can fire one more shot to somehow, some way. Oh, nope, that didn't make it. But even they got 3 people on cap, we're still ahead by a few seconds. Basically, this game ended with us with a win, even though we got completely overwhelmed at one point. And he actually killed Black Prince. Yeah, I kind of made a mistake with the text there. I said using loader and something but not HE. I didn't notice at the time that he was using HE, but I apologize to that KB4. He did his job, and I should have checked myself before I wrecked myself. It's okay though. I mean, that game turned out weird, really weird. But thank goodness we had at least two tanks that returned back to base, stopped at cap, and we had two tanks that were able to cap and get the win. That was a very unexpected win. And you can see the damage I received from countless tanks here. A lot of shots from the Jagdtiger 88 penetrated. Some AP, some HG. Surprisingly, I don't think any APCR fired, but a Jagdtiger, enemy Jagdtiger 88's actually penetrated me though. So that ends that, and we'll go look at the post-game stats. Okay, so we are here at the post-game stats, and this replay was taken on the 20th, so this is a few days old, but that's alright. I got quite a few half-decent replays of the Jagdtiger 88 that I'm saving up for my potential overview video of this tank. Oh. Now here, I did a lot of, I guess, miscellaneous damage. I nearly killed that super pushing if I had a couple more shots land. 1160 damage to him, as well as critical damage, which is probably like the observation deck or taking out his commander, because that's pretty obvious. T29, I did a little bit of damage to him. And with Jagdtiger 88s, I did a fair amount of damage to them as well. And I took out the tracks from IS-6, but mainly that super pushing was my victim in this game, so to speak. Credits earned, we'll talk about that in detailed report, but it's a premium tank and one of the best net profit premium tanks in the game, assuming you can land enough damage with it. Here's the damage sorted. Both teams. The enemy team did a pretty good job. I think better than us in overall damage, but we played the objective better. D75 did a ton of damage, so did that 103, who survived. And I came in third, surprisingly, along with the other Jagdtiger 88, who came in fourth. Neither of us got a kill, surprisingly, too. And I got the most damage out of everyone in game, basically because I held it down. I just kept firing and firing and firing, and I think that's what matters in the end here. So no kills, good damage, especially for this tank. I consider myself, if you could do a decent round with this tank, you would probably push under 1600 or around 1600 damage. That would be a decent round with this, and you'll definitely make profit with it, even if you spend some APCR. And here we are at the detailed report. Shots fired, 25, 20 hit, 13 penetrated, so a little bit over half. Damage was obviously 2615. Hits received, 17. 10 penetrated, although some were HE, so they didn't do too much damage. And 7 non-penetrations. Damage blocked by armor, 1200, which was pretty nice. A little bit less than my total actual health. So yeah, I bounced some shots pretty good, or I blocked some shots. And I did a fair amount of spotting as well. I was surprised that the damage due to player's assistance was pretty low, but it's okay. Now, even though I did fire some APCR, I did make some profit even if I did not have premium with this tank due to the fact that, this thing is a premium tank. I didn't need to necessarily spend too much on APCR, although I did spend mainly AP rounds on this thing. But if I had premium, no, would have made a nice chunk of change. And XP was pretty solid as noted. This tank, in my opinion, although this is mainly for the overview video, but for this replay, this tank, if you can get in that same position that I did, where you're I wouldn't say hull down, I was not hull down, but I was able to, bob my way in and out and prevent shots that would damage my transmission for a little while. You could do a lot of damage because you sort of stopped their rush, or at least slowed it down to a certain extent, and that's exactly what I did, and that's what made it work. That's the type of situation you want to be in this tank, where you could just unload on enemies that are coming at you, but you could somehow protect your weak spots and you do not get flanked. For them, it was hard for them to get flanked because it was a lane. There was no place to really for them to go around unless they were going at the 4 line, which is, the thin path of where the lake was, or from the city, and that didn't happen. So they were basically charging at me head on, and I was able to do some damage to them. I personally think this tank is good selectively for certain situations, but some maps it's just absolutely horrible. I have games where I basically do no damage because, well, either it's my team that's doing bad, or I just got in a really bad situation, or I got scouted and then already decided to go after me and hit my side or my engine deck, and oh, I'm nearly dead, or I am dead. And, stuff like that. But then you can have games where you have a result similar to this, or even much better, and you just make a lot of profit. It's a premium tank and it's a credit earner if you get the right situations. So having said all that, I think this was not a bad replay to highlight at least one of the strengths of the tanks, but not a great replay either. This is Yoshi542. I hope you enjoyed watching this commentary as much as I did casting it. It was a really interesting result because it was not something I expected. I thought we were actually going to lose this game as soon as we lost our defense with the enemy just overwhelming us. But luckily, thanks to the IS-6 and the KV-4 that held them back, we had two tanks capping and easy win, right? It was a close win, but an easy win, I guess. Very close game. So thank you for watching, and if you did enjoy this commentary, please like, comment, and subscribe.